Ever wondered what the good old days of wrestling was truly like? Ever wondered what a show like this would be like if we treated every match, every wrestler, and every feud like it was legit? Well, wonder no more. This is the truly kayfabe edition of If You See Kayfabe. So now, let's hit that theme. G'day, wrestling mates. Welcome to another edition of If You See Kayfabe with your wrestling mate from down under, Southern Joe. During the week, I was thinking about how during what you might call the protected era, back in the 70s and 80s, a show like this and others would be more magazine sports style, which would be talking about the competitors and how they and why they would win or lose matches. It wouldn't be like, this guy needs to be pushed for the sake of storyline. If you watch UFC or boxing, they don't talk about how, say, Conor McGregor needs to be booked to win the title because that's what is best for business. Wrestling was the same. Here in Australia, the results of the big Friday night cards were published in the sports section of the Saturday morning papers alongside legitimate sports results. So after the break, I'm going to go back to a time where everything in wrestling was called legit by the fans and the pundits, where we weren't smartened up to the business. Where if Facebook was around way back then, wrestling discussion groups like Lazarus Pro Wrestling Fan Group or the Cult of Cornet, they'd be filled with talk about how, say, AJ Styles would beat Gunther because of skill, tenure in the business, and speed, rather than discussing what would rate better on TV. Before we reset and go into full kayfabe mode, I found this interesting definition of kayfabe on Wikipedia. Kayfabe is a shorthand term that involves acknowledging the stage scripted nature of professional wrestling, as opposed to a competitive sport, despite being presented as authentic. Initially, people in the business, either wrestlers or those working behind the scenes, used the term kayfabe as a code amongst those in the wrestling profession. So when discussing matters in public without revealing the scripted nature. As a concept, kayfabe involves both the fact that matches are scripted and that wrestlers portray characters for their shows. Now, unlike actors who portray their characters only when on set or on stage, professional wrestlers often stay in character outside the shows, especially when interacting with fans, trying to preserve the illusion of professional wrestling. In contrast, something that is not kayfabe, be it a fight or a statement, is referred to as a shoot. Now, here's an anecdote from the same article by Pat Patterson describing his interaction with a ring attendant in Pacific Northwest Wrestling Territory during the early 1960s. I remember the guy who would bring our jackets back to the dressing room. Every time he did, someone would yell, "Kayfabe!" Then one night, the guy decided to stand up for himself and told the whole dressing room, "I don't mind the yelling, but I want to let you know that my name is not Kayfabe, it's Mark." What he didn't know is that wrestlers called people outside of the business marks. That's why we were yelling kayfabe in the first place. After this break, time to throw away the insider stuff and talk wrestling as though it was legit. Welcome to see If You See Kayfabe, episode 17, the truly kayfabe episode. Now let's look at the top rivalries in the WWE right now. On the Raw side of the aisle, Drew McIntyre is looking at recapturing what he thought he would win at WrestleMania 40. That is the World Heavyweight Championship. Drew is an experienced competitor who has wrestled on many continents. He is well built, has an array of moves. While strictly a brawler, he can wrestle scientifically. McIntyre was also Universal Champ during the COVID era and wanted to win the world title in front of an audience. Damian Priest has been leaning on his mates within the Judgment Day, but he also has enough experience in his own right to win on any given occasion. Now, his craftiness saw him cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase after Seth freaking Rollins lost the belt to Drew at WrestleMania 40. But Drew was attacked after the match by CM Punk following an altercation when Drew berated Punk, who was doing guest commentary at the time. Priest took advantage of Drew's predicament and won the world belt at WrestleMania 40. Their rematch is happening in Drew's native Scotland, which will give the Celtic Warrior a distinct home ground advantage at the Clash of the Castle pay-per-view on June 15. Although Punk has been in a heated verbal war with Drew, Punk is yet to be medically cleared for in-ring action. But when he does, Punk should become a fierce contender. Meanwhile, the Blue Brand, or SmackDown if you will, is featuring Cody Rhodes, who has a decent stranglehold of the Universal title, which he won from Roman Reigns back at WrestleMania 40 in April 2024. The American Nightmare has so far beaten AJ Styles at Backlash in France, as well as the fast-rising Logan Paul in Saudi Arabia. On the May 31 episode of SmackDown, AJ looked like he was giving a retirement speech. During the speech, AJ called Cody out to the ring. Now, after some seemingly heartfelt moments, AJ attacked Rhodes, which led to a confrontation on the June 7th SmackDown, and Cody granted Styles' wish for a Universal title match at Clash of the Castle pay-per-view in Scotland. Now, whilst Cody has the size advantage, AJ Styles has bulked up since his latest return from injury, without losing any agility or quickness. Cody will need all the resilience that his father, the late legend that is Dusty Rhodes, would have instilled in him. In a ballsy move, Rhodes has also stipulated that this would be an I quit match. Folks, this means that the only way to win this match is to make your opponent say those two dreaded words, I quit. Now let's cross the way and see what All Elite Wrestling is getting up to. Swerve Strickland is the current All Elite World Champion, having bested Samoa Joe for that belt. Swerve has since defeated Claudio Castagnoli and Christian Cage in solid title defenses. He is managed by Prince Nana, who between dancing must be giving the right advice to keep the belt in Swerve's house. However, with a loaded roster, his dance card will be filled with worthy opponents who will look to take that belt off him. Notwithstanding Joe's eventual intentions to get a title rematch sometime soon, other potential opponents include Bryan Danielson, who may like to feel gold around his waist one last time before he retires. Jon Moxley, who's no stranger to the world title, having won the strap 4 times, once as interim champ. And also the fast-rising Hook, son of the legendary wrestler Taz, as well as UK sensation Will Ospreay. They hand a list of contenders, so Swerve better be bringing his A game every night, or he may end up getting pinned and losing his belt. Both of the major companies have a lot of tag teams in their divisions. The current champions are Awesome Truth, Miz and R-Truth, who are in their first reign as a team, while individually. This is the 5th reign for Miz and the 2nd for Truth. They won the title from the previous champions, the Judgment Day, which is consisting of Finn Balor and Damian Priest, in a 6-pack tag team ladder match. on night one of WrestleMania 40. They won the title as the Raw Tag Team Championship, and it was renamed as the World Tag Team Championship on April 15. The other tag titles on the line that night was for the SmackDown version of the World Tag Team titles, and that was won by A-Town Down Under. That's the team consisting of Austin Theory and Australia's own Grayson Waller. There are a variety of contenders on each of the WWE brand splitted rosters, with probably a few teams in the NXT bullpen warming up to invade the main rosters as well. But the two incumbent champion teams look like holding their respective belts for quite a while, unless an upset happens or a new team comes along and steamrolls one of those tag teams. All Elite's tag champs are ones that also rig things to their own advantage, given that they're the EVPs of AEW. Yes, I'm talking about the Young Bucks. If they didn't get help or use all their dirty tricks, they would be bottom of the pile by now. FTR are superior in-ring skill and aggression. They have tenure and strength. There's also the Acclaimed, who, like FTR, are also former champs that can easily use their amazing teamwork to recapture the gold at any time. They also have the edge in psychology with Platinum Max Caster. He's perhaps putting opponents off their game. Then you've got the Gunn brothers, Austin and Colton, who are also rising up the ranks and could see a title shot down the road. Now, finally, many talk about how wrestlers kick out of finishing maneuvers these days. My theories are either or a combination of the following. Either many wrestlers don't apply their finishing maneuvers properly and therefore don't have the full desired effect, or the wrestler on the receiving end braces and scouts the move so well, they know how to counteract the finisher's full blow. It could also be a competitor's survival instinct not to give up a 3 count wherever possible. There is also plenty of good wrestling in many other companies worldwide. Even here in Australia, there is a plethora of great companies to see great wrestling action at. They're including PWA, Wide Bay Pro Wrestling, MCW, and Mayhem Wrestling. Mayhem Pro also have exciting news that they will be running ads for their upcoming Anarchy Rules event on June 22 at Bacchus Marsh Public Hall in the northwestern outskirts of Melbourne, Australia. And those ads will be going on Channel 10, Peach and Bold. Now, if you like what you see now, please like and subscribe the hell out of this show. As you've seen, I've been trying to be innovative and different. Until next time, this has been your wrestling mate from down under, Southern Joe, saying hooroo.